This is Tales from the Pros, where business leaders and influencers share their stories of inspiration, struggles, and successes. And I'm your host, Michael Giorgio. Hey everyone, welcome to Tales from the Pros, and this is Michael Giorgio, your host and co-founder of Imaginovation. I have a very, very special guest with me here today. He is the co-founder of SparkToro and previously the co-founder of Moz and Inbound.org. He is also the author of Lost and Founder, a painfully honest field guide to the startup world, a frequent traveler, speaker, and presenter. He has dedicated his professional life to helping people to do better marketing, including myself. Please welcome the amazing Rand Fishkin. Rand, I really appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I know when we're in some crazy times, and I think it's good to recognize that we're in this moment, and it's and that we're all kind of experiencing a lot of we all have our own struggles during this whole crisis that we're in, but it really is a blessing to be able to have a conversation and be able to connect with people like you and like-minded people, and to be able to provide value and inspiration to others. So that's why we're doing this. So it's pretty amazing. So thank you again. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, no, my pleasure.
So Rand, I'm a big fan of yours, and I know who you are, and so does my team. And I'm sure you get this a lot, but for those of you who don't know and they aren't aware, they're not so much as in the marketing world as you and I are, can you tell us a little bit about your story and how you really got to this position that you're in today?
Sure. Yeah. You never know whether you mean got to this position like in a good way, or got to this position like, oh yeah, you're in a tough spot, my friend. And
I'll let you.
How'd you get there? Both apply.
Yeah.
I dropped out of college in 2001, so good little while ago, and spent my first 18 years in the professional world at a company that started as a web design consultancy and then became an SEO consultancy, and then an SEO software business. It was just my mom and I for the first 6 years or so, and then we built some software and launched that in 2007, raised some venture capital, and over the next 6 years, that company had kind of a crazy growth streak. Moz became a little bit of a household name in the marketing world in particular, and especially SEO. And we, grew to about, I think it was around $50 million in revenue, a couple hundred employees, did a number of acquisitions. And that business is still going. I left a couple of years ago and started a new company called SparkToro, raised a very unique kind of funding round, non-venture backed, for this business. And we just launched Wednesday. So 2 days ago. You and I are having this conversation about 48 hours after.
And I got the email. I logged in. I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's great. So that was actually going to be my next question. Was with Moz, most marketers they know about Moz, and I know you're promoting SparkToro, and I'm no doubt it's going to be amazing. From what I saw, it looks fantastic. Was that something like you had planned of leaving Moz and starting something else, or was it what inspired that? Did it just kind of come organically, naturally?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Fair question. Yeah. So no, it was, to be honest, Mike, I think I had an incredible amount of fear and anxiety about leaving Moz. I think I probably shed actual literal tears more than once over it. And yeah, I had a tremendous amount of stress. I built Moz in this way that I hoped would be a certain special kind of company that I wanted, to see a particular vision through. And I think, when you raise institutional capital, that is not in your control anymore. Especially I stepped down voluntarily from the CEO role, and asked my board to promote my chief operating officer to CEO. And then found, over the years subsequent to that, I think I stepped down in 2014, and Moz really struggled starting the year after that. I did some painful layoffs in 2016.
Yeah.
And the disagreements between myself and leadership were just untenable, and really, not just professional, but personal and emotional, and not great. I think a lot of the times when folks look at a company's, board of directors and leadership, and they see people departing and stuff, it's kind of I wonder what happened there. Did that person, want to go? And the answer, I think, almost universally is complicated and emotional and messy, and not the sort of clean professional, this person worked for 6 months and said, I believe it is time for me to go, and then they resign. It doesn't really work that way. So when I wrote the blog post about leaving Moz, which is almost 2 years ago, I said, on a scale between 0 and 10, where 10 is sort of everybody hugs everyone else, and it's just like the best feeling in the world, rainbows and sunshine walking out the door, welcome back anytime, and 0 is escorted out by security. And my departure was like a 4.
Yeah, it's I completely understand. I've spoken to a lot of different business leaders that have, that they've had strategic exit strategies and all that, right? But that's the reason I asked that question, is just because it's and I love how honest you are with me. That's great. It's I think, Rand, people need to hear that, and I know you talk about this in your book, how tough it is to be a startup, how tough the struggles that they go through, how tough it is to just the grits and the grinds, and it's not all fairy tale. It looks good on social media, and on Facebook you see these guys with Lamborghinis, and you see all this crap. It's crazy stuff. But I think the ones that make it are the ones that are honest with themselves. They're transparent. Work ethic is very important. Obviously, it's about working hard, but it's not just about that. That's just one element of it. I think it's very mental.
It's a huge I feel like there's so many myths, right? First off, almost no one in the startup world, even the people who've made it, have a Lamborghini, right? There's a few people who say, I have a startup and also a Lamborghini, and almost always that's family money.
Yep, that's right.
The interesting thing, I looked at the research for my book, right? And one of the things that is really tragic, I think, really, really sad to learn, is that the United States is at a historic low in terms of number of new companies being started. And this is before coronavirus, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about, last year, 2019. Historic low in terms of number of startups, historic low in terms of number of people employed by startups and early stage businesses, right, in their first 5 years of life. Historic low in terms of percentage of the economy that's driven by small businesses in their first 5 years of life. So we may feel like it's the golden age of the tech startup, but it is anything but that. And frankly, the people who start these companies, I wish that what I could say is, it's a bunch of folks who work hard and have a dream and pursue it. But in fact, most of the startups in the tech world, most of the ones that raise funding, are started by people whose families already have money. And lots of it. So weirdly enough, I thought I was like, maybe, my parents, my dad was an engineer at Boeing, right? My mom owned her own small business marketing consultancy. My parents did okay. I don't think they ever broke 6 figures in their life, but they were solidly middle class. And that's actually on the low end of the spectrum for founders. Most founders come from families where there's no real fear of failing. And so, that breaks my heart, right? I want to see people who, can take a dream and hard work and turn it into something, and they don't have to come from privileged backgrounds. Because frankly, right, talent is equally distributed. Mm-hmm. It's opportunity that's not. There were more dollars from venture capital funded founders named John than all women, just universally.
You hit the spot, Rand, before in regards to how a lot of these startups, they come from money, and I'll tell you firsthand that is so true, because the company that I run, I'm one of the co-founders of Imaginovation. We build custom applications for businesses, startups to enterprise level companies. Yeah. And a lot of startups that we work with, they do come from family money.
Yeah.
A lot of them, don't get me wrong, I love my clients. I love them.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
We've had bad clients, we've had good clients. But I'll tell you that most of the ones that come to us as leads and prospects, that are fueled from marketing, which we're talking about in a little bit. But essentially, the ones that do come, we ask them, "What's your funding situation like?" It's good to know what the get an alignment, right. Budget, right, to make sure it's a good fit. And they say, we're being funded from my family or my father or my grandparents or this, and it's just it's not or either that or they're looking for VC capital, they're looking for angel investors. It's just, I think I love it when businesses bootstrap, because you've noticed this working with probably tons of companies, is that they're very, a lot of business owners very reliant on trying to get capital instead of just trying to bootstrap it. And it's hard to bootstrap. You're starting it from nothing with zero funds really, but it's tough. It's tough as hell. But there's also I think there's a very inspirational element to that too.
Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of the discipline and strength that gives you resiliency in the face of adversity, which almost every company and individual is encountering right now because of this climate. I think that those are strengths, those are muscles that you build, right? You work those out at the gym of bootstrapping, at the gym of, constrained resources. Mm-hmm. And I love the idea, just philosophically, I love the idea of things like, universal basic income, or of, much greater government services for folks, because I love the idea that you could quit your job, not be stressed about it, and have the freedom and flexibility to start something new. I just imagine an economy where millions of people feel like, hey, I don't have to put up with this. I can go home, and sure, I'm not going to make much of an income, but I can start something. I can build something. I'll have enough to live on. I won't have to worry about healthcare, and I can build something myself. And I just imagine the extraordinary companies and innovation that could come from that. That's what I want to enable, right? So this is why Moz, SparkToro, Inbound.org, everything I've ever built is really designed for small businesses, medium businesses, early stage companies. I'm trying to take sort of the power that's in the hands of monopolies and enterprises, because they have plenty of resources to build whatever kind of software they want internally, right? They don't need as much third-party stuff, and make that accessible and available to everyone else. So SparkToro is really exactly that, right? It's like this, hey, let's take market research that was previously only available to companies with millions of dollars, and for a couple $100, you can get the same thing.
Because and we're going to talk about marketing, your love and passion in a second, and so mine too. I'm marketing through and through. I love it. But marketing is really all about targeting. And without doing the market research, you can't really target. So you're providing these tools that I think ran with good intentions, and you're trying to really provide value. You're not doing it for, obviously none of us are really doing it just for money. There's a lot of what we talk about.
If you want just the money, go work at Microsoft or Google, right?
That's right. Yeah, and you can do that. We can do that. You know, we can go get these other jobs, but at those places, you're also just a number. You'd rather leave a positive footprint in this world because you know that one day, you know, our candle is going to be, you know, it's going to be blown out.
No, and you want to. I mean, I think this is one of the, you know, one of the most important things for me is just being able to look back at you know, a career which is, you know, such a huge part of our lives, and say that it really helped people, right? It helped make the kind of world that I want to live in, that I want future generations to live in. I think that's hugely important. And yeah, I mean, I am a massive fan of marketing. I agree with you. Targeting is crucial. And I think the other side of that is storytelling, right? So, you know, whether it's creative or advertising or, you know, good search ads, good listings in SEO, good content marketing, whatever it is, right? That's the story that you're telling. And that has to do a great job of kind of positioning your product, your solution. But if you don't tell that story in the right place to the right people, right? A ton of that effort is wasted.
1,000. Rand, this is why I started this podcast. It's a business storytelling podcast that you know, combines you know, business insights as well and expertise, and you're 1,000% agree with you. I think a lot of people really take that. They don't really. A lot of people don't understand storytelling. They don't value it. I'll tell you this. I've spoken to some very successful people that don't get me wrong. In their bank accounts, it's full. It's great. It's, you know, all that, but they don't see, like, when I ask them, oh, does your marketing team, or do you guys ever focus on, you know, storytelling aspects as part of your strategy? Do you try to tell your story? Do you try to allow it to resonate with others for inspiration, you know, and really provide some strong value? And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But, you know, to kind of, I think that's a good segue. So, like, what do you think, Rand, right now? I know that the COVID-19 is going on, and hopefully that's gonna dissipate very soon. Hopefully. But where do you feel digital marketing and even business is headed now? Like, where do you think it's going?
Yeah, my sense is we are encountering a few painful macro trends, which are going to have a similar, probably even larger impact than 2008's financial crisis, because I think this economic recession, potentially depression, depending on how long recovery takes, I think this one's going to be more severe. You can already see that right in the jobless numbers of, you know, it's possible that a quarter of Americans are out of work, which is just heartbreaking, right? Mind-boggling, considering we were at 4% unemployment, you know, 8 weeks ago. But I think as a result, a few things will happen, right? First off, almost every business is looking for cost savings of every kind, which in marketing often means, unfortunately, that folks cut with a chainsaw instead of a scalpel. And that is particularly painful because it often means that the business loses out even more on capturable customers. I think we're going to see kind of bifurcation on that, where you have some folks, I don't know whether it's, you know, the savviest 30%, savviest 20% of the market, which is instead cutting with a scalpel, looking at where can we make big cost cuts without losing large amounts of customers, and then take those dollars, or a significant portion of those dollars, and reinvest them in other channels. In 2008, this is one of the biggest trends Moz benefited from. We launched our big link index tool, you know, Linkscape back in the day, on the day Lehman Brothers collapsed in October 2008. And right, that was like, oh, super scary. But we were profitable a month later. We were back to profitable a month later because so many people were essentially looking at their paid search budgets, their paid advertising budgets, their offline budgets, and saying, we want to move to digital, we want to move to something more trackable, and we want to move to something free and organic. Let's invest in SEO. I am certain you will see similar things happening in 2020, where businesses are essentially looking for marketing channels that are underinvested in and moving dollars there. One of the things that happens in a recession climate, especially one that's very rapid, is that every business leader says, throw out our plans, give me the new ideas, right? And so innovation is possible where previously you had a bunch of stagnation. I heard from some friends, I have some emails in my inbox this morning that are like, yeah, the COVID thing's painful, but honestly, it's been good for us. We've been reassessing all of our basics. We've been looking at our fundamentals, trying to figure out new channels, trying to figure out new strategies, trying to figure out whether our products are right.
Gives you more time to think. Right now, we're trying to think of, what did we do wrong? What did we do right? What do we,
yeah.
how do we, yeah.
And people are like, when you're in, slow but steady growth mode, you're just kind of like, in the wheel and turning. And I think to break out of that, sometimes it takes a significant drop off, and that's when everybody panics and looks for new things. And that's when new ideas surface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's, I think you dived into this a little bit, and just this question is, so for small businesses, what do you think they should be focusing on to grow on a strategic marketing perspective? You think, I mean, I understand there's a lot of tools and resources out there, but is there anything specific? Do you think in regards to Google, for example, there's pay to play, there's paid marketing, and then there's organic SEO. Do you think that maybe I'm calling this whole COVID-19 kind of like a reset on the world a little bit. Yeah. Do you think that maybe organic will start playing a bigger role than paid marketing after this for small businesses, or you think it might be opposite?
I suspect there's going to be a lot of folks who retreat from paid almost entirely. You can see Google, right? Google is shutting down a bunch of their marketing. I think they're talking about cutting half their spend.
I just saw that. Yep.
Yeah, they're freezing new hires, right? So Google themselves are feeling the pain, which Google has never felt pain. Not in all the years of their existence, right? They've just been rising like gangbusters. So I think what you'll almost definitely see is what we're seeing in Facebook ad costs and Google ad costs, and Amazon a little less so, which is that ad costs are way, way down. I've talked to some folks who were paying $3 a conversion in January, who were paying 12 cents a conversion in April. And that, they're just going to keep investing. The challenge, I think, for a lot of small businesses is finding a product and a positioning set that meets the market's new and changing demands. The most obvious one is like the restaurant business, where everyone is shifting to, can we do takeout? Can we do boxed orders? Can we do frozen food deliveries? Can we do special packages? Can we offer people gift cards for when we reopen?
More on demand, more virtual, more real time.
Yeah, they're trying to come up with creative things. Can we do dinners over web conferencing? Like whatever it is, right? All that kind of stuff. Very, very, at the very micro level for restaurants, but applied to all businesses in general. If today you are providing software as a service that helps small businesses with their online presence, can you do it in such a way that helps people overcome this gap? Can you do who was it? I think it was Buffer, who was basically like, hey, we know that a ton of you are cutting your budgets right now, so we're giving everyone 3 months free, right? We're just saying, like, we know everybody is taking a quarter off of revenue. Here's a quarter back on expenses, and just recognizing that and being able to serve those folks because they've got the cash position to do it. I think anytime you have a point of leverage, a point of creativity, a point of strength, you can use that to help other people. And there's nothing better right now than helping folks. The other thing I feel like is a lot of people, SparkToro included, is going to use this time to build up an audience, even if it's not a converting revenue generating audience. And then in the future, as things recover, benefit from that audience creation.
Wow. And in regards to Google and Google SEO and paid marketing, do you think that there's going to be any changes in the algorithms, their updates in regards to on-site optimization? Do you think it's going to be still more off-page optimization? I at least for me, in my experience, I don't want to quote this out or anything like that, but from my experience, I felt that on-page does play a role, but at least for my company, off-page has really helped us because that comes to content marketing. When we're writing for third-party publications, giving back to the community. We've written for Entrepreneur, VentureBee, all these, and our rankings went up because they're high authority domain sites.
Right.
So that's what has worked for us alongside of on-page optimization. But do you think any of that's going to be changing, or?
I will say I have certainly seen over the last 10 years a trend toward more, I don't know if on page is entirely fair, but certainly in the category of things you do on your website having more impact than they did in the past, things you do off your website having a little bit less impact. That shift has been going on for a long time now. Like I said, maybe 10 years, but Google definitely seems to have gotten much more intelligent. And I think that this is down to them switching over to a machine learning, neural network based system where they're essentially trying to interpret content that authoritatively, comprehensively solves the searcher's problem, more so than they are saying, oh, well, this page has the most links with this anchor text.
Yeah.
Which that was SEO from 1998 to like 2010, 2011. And 2012 and beyond, they've been, that's not gone, but it has been shifting. And one of the best SEO tips that I think I could give, especially in my last few years with Moz, right, was do a better job than anyone else on page one of solving the searcher's problem. If you can do that, chances are very good that Google will over time reward you.
Because it's a lot. Yeah, I agree. I think it's because it's a lot right now. It's a lot more about users' intent, why they're, what they're trying to, like you said, answering their questions. What are they trying to solve? Their pain points. And also I think as well from what I'm understanding is a lot of it's about customer experience, user experience on the website and through your content, making it easy for them, right? Making it intuitive for them. I think is also playing a role. Like I said, I'm not going to quote that out because I'm not the algorithm, so no one really knows. But
no, I think that's absolutely right. I don't think you have to be, you don't even have to be an SEO expert to have seen that trend, right? And see that, gosh, sometimes these smaller sites outrank these big ones. Sometimes, a lot of the correlation studies in SEO look at like, why does long form content correlate with higher rankings than short form? And oftentimes it's, well, that more comprehensively solves the searcher's problem, right? A lot of times when I need, around queries that need in-depth answers, a long form piece of content is going to solve that. And is the answer, oh, I should just write longer articles? No, right? That's the wrong way to think about correlation and causation. But is the answer, should I make sure that I deeply understand the searchers, my audience, the people who need an answer to this question, and why they need that answer, and what they're looking for, and all the things they might need to do next? And then should I provide all of that in my one piece that does the best job of that? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Rand, when going back a little bit with you building SparkToro, and you just launched it, and even at your days at Moz, what were some of the important vital steps that you took to ensure a steady, scalable growth? Because we talked about this earlier, right? That growing a business is really hard. It's tough. It's just not like what it talks about on the internet and Facebook ads and all this stuff that you see. But essentially, what did you do? And for me, I consider you an expert. I consider you a thought leader. This is my opinion. That's what I feel about you. And you've grown amazing companies. So what did you do that was, at least on the positives, that were pinnacle positive moments that helped you grow and scale those businesses?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, I think the most successful things that I have done have never been moments. They've always been small contributions over time to a broader flywheel that scales with decreasing friction, right? This idea that, once I found this one hack, it really shot our numbers up. That is not how businesses work, in my experience, and certainly not software as a service, where you're looking for long-term, high retention customers who get a lot of value out of your product. And so, spiking sales one day might be great for your short-term revenue, generally not great for your long-term numbers.
Right.
In terms of things that have been hugely successful, the way I reflect back on this is building um, building things that people connected with on a value level, like this thing gives me value, and also on an emotional level. This thing or this person or this company makes me feel good about the things that I'm doing, makes me feel good about the interactions that I'm having. That has been, I think, the biggest thing. So, a few examples of that. The Moz blog, right, which was hugely successful for a long time, generated millions of visits a month after a few years of investment. But it wasn't, it didn't start out as anything special. If you go back and read the posts from 2003, 2004, 2005, it's junk. You're like, oh man, this guy is terrible. He's not a good writer. He doesn't have interesting topics. Like it's just junk. But
you were consistent though.
Yes.
It's consistency is the key.
Consistent and consistent improvement, right? Because you could feel that like month over month, even though it was crap, it was like, but this crap is getting slightly better. It doesn't smell as bad as it smelled the month before, right? That I think is where we really built strength. The same thing with Whiteboard Friday, right? The video series.
I remember those. Yeah.
Popular.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing there. Same thing with the guides that Moz made, right? The very first version, the Beginner's Guide to SEO. It was good, but it was really good because nothing like it existed, right? You couldn't go on the internet and get a good free guide to how SEO worked that was like thoughtful and well done. And so the Moz Beginner's Guide to SEO, but the version that came out in 2009 was, 10 times better than the one that came out in 2005. The version that came out in 2012 was 10 times better than the one from 2009. The one that came out, last year, 2 years ago, 10 times better than that. I didn't even work on the one, maybe I worked a little bit on the one that came out, 2018 or 2019. But you get the idea, right? That there's this consistent improvement. And I think that is exactly what I need to do with SparkToro, right? SparkToro, I mean, all fairness, right? I leveraged a ton of the marketing strengths that I already had from Moz, brought a lot of that audience with me through my social channels and personal connections and stuff. And that's been really helpful in getting the company off the ground. But it is absolutely the case, right, that we need to find those flywheels and keep investing in them in the same ways. So I don't know whether that's going to be video or other types of content or tools, but we need it.
And I'm sure you're using, we talked about storytelling a little bit. I think, I think that this is my opinion, but I think for some reason that whenever we write about stories on the internet, there's always some sort of positive outcome from it. I don't know if Google knows it or I don't know, but it's crazy the power of storytelling, not just like algorithmic and Google, but I think even just the way readers are engaging with it. They're like, man, this Rand, or John or whoever, this guy went through some tough stuff. Wow. Like this is cool. I didn't know this about him. I didn't know he went through all this. This is really cool. This is really, I'm connected. I'm more connected with this guy right now. I'm more connected with him and he's the face of that brand. So then you're connected with the brand and that increases loyalty. And then, you see what I'm saying? It's just crazy. But what were your thoughts on storytelling and how it's really helped you and businesses? And
Yeah. I mean, my sense is that people buy because they need a problem solved far less than people buy because they have an emotional connection and they trust, are aware of something, right? And so the emotions of branding and of storytelling are highly underrated, especially by technical founders, right? Who think that people for a lot of people who have this problem, we need to build a better mousetrap. And if we build a better mousetrap and just show people that we have it, they'll flock to us.
Yeah. And
reality is not that. I think this is part of why so many startups fail, right? Especially in tech world or backed by tech founders. Is that there's not that understanding that emotional resonance drives so much of product adoption and awareness and conversion behavior. And so, some of the best ways that I have found to do that are to make build a community of people who like and care about you, your story, your brand, the problem, solving that painful problem, whatever it is, and the way that you're doing it, and then use that community to help find more people like them, and market to them in similar ways that your existing audience already talks about that problem. I don't think there's anything more powerful in storytelling than sort of the, oh, person like me with whom I can identify and empathize experienced similar thing to me and overcame hard problem to have more, success or happiness or wonderment or whatever it is at the end, right? And this is, some of the most successful marketing in the United States is political marketing, and it works in exactly this way. Right? It basically says, hey, let's find something, some form of connection, cultural identity, socioeconomic identity, recreational activity identity, right? Think of firearms in the US, right? Which is sort of recreational, but very much a social identity. And then let's build around that and leverage that to get people on our side on a whole bunch of other issues that they might not have otherwise cared about, but now they tie it to their identity. And it works the same in, all forms of branding. When you watch sophisticated, savvy ads that show up on the Super Bowl, or you see an ad that resonates on Instagram, it's not just targeting, it's also recognition of identity and of emotion, and then playing to that.
Yeah, and empathy. And it's funny that you say that, because I put a post today on LinkedIn that says, in marketing, I try to put like a little marketing tip per day now. I just started it. And I put a quote, and I put that marketing execution should be data driven, but your idea should be empathetic.
Yeah, I don't really love the phrase data driven, right? I like data informed, but I think that we have to make decisions based on, what do I want to call it? Humanity, sort of shared humanity, understanding of our audience, and then use data to guide the directions of those decisions, right? So you are not going to find your amazing innovation, generally speaking, by purely looking at your data. So you will find that through the interviews you have with customers, through the conversations that you have with people, through putting yourself in their shoes and their mindset, experiencing the same pain they do. That is where you will find product innovation, marketing innovation, content innovation. And then data, you can look at your funnel and your traffic and third-party sources and all that kind of thing to look at, hey, how can we improve this structure that we've built, right? That we've already built. I think that fine-tuning is great with data, but being data-driven can actually make you very narrow-minded.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Yeah, I think that's why empathy is very important, and just being a person, showing that you're human, that we all are going through the same struggles and joy and pain, and I think that plays a huge role in marketing and where it's headed, because we're all human beings. We're all going through a lot of the same things, and we're using products the same way, and we're using products differently, and so I think having that human element is definitely very important. So Rand, just a few more questions before we finish here. Is I was asked the 3 hows. So how do you define failure? Is the first question in the shortest sentence. How do you define failure?
Yeah, I think failure is not living up to your own expectations rather than not living up to someone else's.
Love it. And second question is, how do you define your story in 1 sentence or in 1 word?
Painfully honest.
Painfully honest.
That's my answer.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant.
You said 1 sentence or 1 word. I guess I went with one phrase.
Cool. I thought you meant you're gonna give me an answer that's painfully honest, and I said
no. Painfully honest is my answer.
I love it. I love it. All right, perfect. I'm going to quote that out. I love it, man. So last one is, how do you define success?
Ooh. For me, success is building something that inspires others to create a better, fairer, more equitable world.
Oh, nice. I haven't got the answer before. I always ask these questions because everyone has these different answers, and I love hearing them. But that's pretty much it. Rand, I really appreciate it. This has been wonderful. I've learned a lot. I think everyone else is going to learn so much from you. I think you're a very inspirational thought leader. You're probably sick of people saying, "Yo, you're a marketing guru." I'm not going to say guru, so don't worry. So I'm just going to say,
thank you.
I think you're a very professional marketer who's done a wonderful job in the business world. So.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Mike. Yeah. It was a pleasure joining you, really, man. I hope we get to meet up sometime in person.
Absolutely. Hopefully we get to be at these conferences when things settle down a little bit. But and one more thing. So where can everyone find you? I know I think this website is www.sparktoro.com.
SparkToro.com. You got it. And you'll find the blog there, which is where I do a lot of my writing. And I'm most active on Twitter, where I'm at Rand Fish.
Okay. Awesome, Matt. Well, really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure. And I'm very humbled for you to spend the time to chat with me. And I can't wait for people to see this. So thank you.
Yeah. I hope lots of folks give it a spin. Thanks, man.
Good.
Take care.
All right, cool. Thanks, Rand. Take care. All right.
Bye.
Please subscribe to our YouTube page and also follow our social media. There are links somewhere around here. But we really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for all the support. And I'm going to be giving you awesome content continuously. And we look forward to seeing you soon.